Hi everyone. I'm going to talk about a human lesson that I've learned when I was a little bit younger. I think I was probably about 3 or 4 years into my career, maybe a little bit more than that. And roughly about that time. So this is kind of how the story goes. When I was a younger healthcare professional, there was this one particular situation, and all the people around me, every time you come across situations like this, it seems frustrating. And the reason why it seems frustrating because it's kind of like we do our jobs the right way, we do our jobs really, really well, and it doesn't work out the way we want it to. And it's kind of like then you blow it off and it's like, it's going to happen again, it's going to happen again. And sure enough, it does. So whenever that particular situation happens, I guess on the most part, I would be frustrated too. It's kind of like making somebody screwing up and you get it all fixed up and they screw it up again. So we had this one particular person. What this person did was they would overdose on cocaine. And when they overdosed on cocaine, they would stop breathing. They would end up having to be on life support. And we, in a sense, fixed them up, got them off of life support, got them cleaned up. And of course, we all know that cocaine is not the easiest drug to break an addiction to as well too. The problem is, once we got this person partially fixed up or whatever, they would leave the hospital before they were ready to. It's called leaving against medical advice. So they'd sign themselves out before the doctor recommended it or before the doctor was willing to discharge them because we weren't finished fixing them up, getting their body fixed up the way it needed to. So sure enough, person leaves. About a week later, same story. Ends up overdosing on cocaine and ends up on life support. Get him off of the life support. I was like, hey, man, you got to stop doing this. It's like, and they always say the same thing. Man, I'm so sorry. I'm trying, but it is so hard. So they get fidgety, and once they get well enough, they walk out against medical advice again. The fifth time in, of course, I'm frustrated now because I'm like, dude, what are you doing to yourself? You're doing this over and over again. This is not a good thing. Breathing is not a good thing. Being on life support is not a good thing. This has got to stop, okay? You're not doing that well for your body. You're not doing that great. This is not the best thing to do. And of course, they'd always apologize. They were the kindest, nicest person in the world. But of course, once again, breaking a habit like that after they've been on this habit for such a long time, we knew their circumstance was not going to be the greatest circumstance in the world. They would leave again, and of course, we'd get frustrated again. So after a while of being frustrated, I come to find out that I really, really was not looking at this the right way. And my thing about it is always to say, hey, do I want to be like everyone else? So everybody else is frustrated. I didn't like that. I didn't want to be everybody else. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be the best that I could be, in a sense of some commercial thing of be all that you can be. But it's kind of like the key thing is I wanted to be better. And that's what I've always shot for, is to always be better. So after all of that, I went to sit down for a little while and reevaluate why I was so frustrated because of this particular situation, where this person would continuously come in, overdose on life support. We get them off of it, and they would do it over and over again. It's very, very frustrating. You put in so much resources, so much effort or so, and you don't get anywhere. So I said, you know what, maybe that's not the perspective that I really want to be a part of my life, because it's making me have moments in my life that are negative. I like positive environments. I like to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. So I said, as a healthcare professional, I was like, you know what? No, we're going to do it differently. So I thought back about this particular person, and then I thought back to my life as well too. So I decided to think of it this way. So it goes something like this. When I was younger, when I was a kid, I remember a lot of the mistakes that I made when I was a kid. And if you think about when you're a kid, when you're a child, when you make a mistake, what happens? Mom and dad would ground you, would punish you, whatever it is. And then they would yell at you, or whatever they did. Their version of saying, shame on you, shame on you. And once you're done being grounded, they let you go out. Being a kid is being a kid. Which means you go out, do something, you screw up again. You break a leg, or you made a bad grade in school, or you got into a fight with somebody. And what happens every single time when mom and dad finds out, or whoever is your parenting structure finds out, is you get grounded, you get disciplined over and over again. And this happens throughout childhood and your teenage years, or whatever it is, until you grow up, until you leave home, until you become an adult. So, so what's the point of all of that? The point of all of that is the fact that your parents gave you a second chance every time you made a mistake. So when you screw up or so, of course you got punished, you got disciplined for it, whatever it is, you got grounded 2 or 3 days or whatever it is, and they talk about shame on you. But once again, what they do, they let you out. And they gave you a second chance to get it right. Now, I know I was not the perfect kid when I was younger. The cool thing about my parents is they gave me a lot of second chances. They gave me like 1,000,000 second chances, I'm pretty sure. Because they cared enough about my success, my well-being, and how I would be as a person overall. So my parents tried. Overall, I did okay. I'm not the worst, I'm not the best, but I did okay. I have a pretty decent life or so because of that. I don't screw up like I did when I was a child. I still make mistakes, but because of all of that, I learned from my mistakes, and I've been able to grow from them. So I applied that philosophy to the way I look at what I did to all these patients. Is everybody is not perfect. Everybody's going to make a mistake. And it may not even be any fault of their own, but the human body is as unique as it is. It doesn't like certain things. If you're a diabetic and you decide to eat just the whole cake instead of just a slice of cake, that's a mistake. If you're a diabetic and unfortunately because of your life circumstance, you can't afford the insulin or the medications necessary to manage your diabetes, it's not a mistake, but it's a circumstance of life as well too. Those situations can be fatal. They can be detrimental to your body. They can overall change your life circumstances quite a bit if they're not managed appropriately. So we have people who come into the hospital. Sometimes it is because they made mistakes. It's because they didn't have the capacity, the resources to manage their disease processes, whatever it might be. And what did I decide to do? I decided, well, you know what? We're going to get them back to health as best as we can. And it's kind of like doing that is like giving them a second chance at life. Because some of these disease processes, they are fatal. They can be extremely fatal. They can take years off of your life. So healthcare has been able to be so much better that now, because of how well we manage certain disease processes, we can get these people fixed up. Not necessarily as good as before they had that particular mistake or problem or whatever it might be, that disease issue. But we get them pretty healthy or so overall so that they can have a second chance. So when it comes to how I look at people who ask for my help, or who have a need and says, hey, do you mind giving me a hand? Mistakes are normal. Not getting it right is normal. Not being the smartest person is normal. But so being able to help somebody is also giving them an opportunity to have a second chance, because it's the human thing to do. My parents did it for me. I am pretty sure a lot of the people in this world, they have parents that were willing to give a lot of the people in this world, their children, all these second chances. Well, if your parents were willing to give you a second chance, how hard is it for you to give another person a second chance? Or a third second chance, or a fourth second chance? It doesn't harm anything. There's no reason to be frustrated because nobody's perfect. Nobody gets it right. Hey, how many times did you have to do something to get it just right? Even athletes or so. A basketball player has to shoot 1,000 basketballs into the net or so, or into the goal, and you're not going to get all 1,000 in. Technically, if you shoot, you try, and you miss, technically you can call that a mistake. You can call that a miss, whatever you want. But the fact is, nobody's 100% perfect. So you have to continuously try and practice and continuously make mistakes, so that at some point, those mistakes become a whole lot less. Everybody gets second chances. Some people get more second chances than others. Some people are very fortunate where they don't require a lot of second chances in their life. But everyone requires, or everybody has had a second chance from somebody before. Well, spread the wealth. Make it grow in the fact that humanity has always had second chances. So the people around you, just because they make a mistake, just because they're not perfect, just because they say something wrong, just because they irk you the wrong way or whatever it is, take a step back for just 1 second, reevaluate. Is it really a misunderstanding? A lot of people deserve second chances because nobody gets it right the first time. Maybe it's because they don't know any better, and you have that opportunity to teach them something better, something that they don't know. Those perspectives or so, education, growth or so, changes people in a good way most of the time. So be forthcoming and not necessarily judgmental of people. I believe, because I was raised the way I was, I believe everyone deserves a second chance. So I hope you all reevaluate those people that you come across who do make mistakes. And maybe, since your parents were willing to give you a second chance, maybe that person who made that mistake deserves a second chance too. Thank you.